Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission. It's being held in the Commissioners Meeting Room in Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Room 270, Cortez, Colorado. We're going to open with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can we have roll call?
Commissioner Farian?
Here.
Commissioner Saunders?
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez is absent. Commissioner Taylor?
Present.
Commissioner Lynch?
Present.
Commissioner Neergaard?
Present.
Also present is Don Haley and Jane Duncan of the County Planning. Please silence or turn off your cell phones during the meeting. Important calls can be taken outside. Planning and zoning minutes will be reviewed, or Planning and Zoning Commission minutes will be what?
Did I?
We'll review the December minutes. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve December 8th minutes. December 8th, 2022 Planning and Zoning minutes.
Second that.
Okay, and can we have a vote?
Commissioner Farian?
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch?
Present.
Commissioner Neergaard?
Aye.
Okay, motion was carried, vote was unanimous. The Montezuma Planning Commission welcomes you to this meeting. The board is comprised of members who are tasked to make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners. We are not the decision makers. We encourage public comment after each permit. Persons speaking during public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people speaking, it may be reduced at the discretion of the Planning Commission to allow members of the public the opportunity to address their thoughts and concerns. When addressing the commission, please come up to the podium and state your name and address for record prior to making your comments. Comments to individual applicants are not permitted. Participants may not yield their time to others. I shall be voting tonight. And can we have roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner, item number 1.
Yes.
The applicant has withdrawn that application, so we will not be hearing that one.
Okay.
So I will do roll call for item number 2.
Okay.
Commissioner Farian?
Here.
Commissioner Saunders?
Here.
Commissioner Taylor?
Present.
Commissioner Lynch?
Here.
Commissioner Neergaard?
Here.
All right. Notice is hereby given that Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed high-impact special use permit and commercial planned unit development application submitted by Circle C RV Park and Campground, Inc., agents Lana Kelly and John Godbout, on property located at 28,000 Road T, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 14 acres, more or less, located south of Road T, west of Highway 145, situated in Section 19, Township 36 North, Range 15 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir.
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir.
Was the sign posted?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Can we have the applicant come forward?
You'll need to turn those mics on.
All right. Can we have planning department findings, please?
Sure. Ms. Kelly and Mr. Godbout are desiring to come into compliance with the county land use code regarding permits and intents to continue the current use, and they do not have any further planned development. This particular property has been an RV park and campground for 20-plus years. So all the infrastructure is in place. The only thing that they will need to do would be to construct a set of covenants for the PUD,
Gotcha.
stated by Colorado revised statute.
Okay. Right. Planning Commission, do you guys have anything to add?
I don't.
No, and what happened, the original owners had this campground started. They did get a high impact permit in the early 2000s for a ropes course. They were doing some mental health, group gathering type operations, but that high impact permit had a 2-year time frame. And part of those stipulations were they were to apply and get approved for a PUD for the campground. They went through P&Z, but then never continued on to get permitted. So this, we're just,
And this was.
Lana put in a new set. Wow. That hurt. Last year for the east side, but the recorded permits that GIS had on that property was for the neighbor to do auto repair work, and it had nothing to do with the campground, so they're just going through the process and getting everything compliant.
Gotcha. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
Not really. I think we all have the understanding.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Do you currently have your covenants written out, or the in the process? Where are you at with those?
They're in the they're in the process.
Yeah.
No, it's his.
Yeah.
We're in process. Mostly what we're trying to figure out is exactly what we need to do as far as the covenants are.
Gotcha.
We have a good relationship with our neighbors. I don't anticipate it being a problem at all. I'm just trying to get the definition of exactly what we need to do and write it out.
Anything else from the commission?
It's showing here that we have current driveway access permit from Montezuma County is in process. Has that driveway not been permitted through the county?
I believe it has been in the past, and I think that when I was on the online portal, I checked something wrong, and it made me do a application or something that I abandoned. But
Okay.
I believe it's already gotten a permit, driveway access permit.
Yeah, Road and Bridge has looked at that. Even existing driveways, because Montezuma Water just built there 5 years ago.
Right.
For some reason, that never got permitted, but with our new system and software, it's been looked at. I don't know if you guys have been, I think you did an application, but they won't be charged anything. It's just a matter of signing off the document and recording it. But it's a shared driveway with Montezuma Water, and it's plenty wide. No upgrades were necessary, so it's fine.
Okay.
And Road and Bridge has decided that with their older driveways, if there is a change to the usage or development on a property that has an existing driveway, they like to go and inspect it just to make sure that it is up to county standards. And if it doesn't have a permit, that it will, they would like to have it permitted, whether or not they do charge the applicant or not. They just like it for their records.
Gotcha.
So I'm new to the board, and I have a ton of things that I need to learn. But as part of this process, it's been stated that the covenants are completed, would that then become a condition of the motion on this particular property or not?
The only thing, the covenants, if there were any specific conditions that needed to be addressed, those could be part of the covenants. But if there's not any circumstances or mitigation that's required, then we have the standard 8 minimums that we require. They may want to add to it just for how they operate the campground, hours of operation, some of those particulars. You know, if they don't allow extended living for months at a time, but it's strictly up to them on those conditions in the covenants.
Yeah, so I think what I'm hearing you tell me is that that doesn't need to be a condition
Of the motion.
that's made.
No,
That's just a
no.
concern about it.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll go ahead and open this up to public comment. If anybody would like to comment, please come to the podium. Okay. Seeing none, I will bring it back to the commission. Any further follow-ups? Yes.
Nope.
Okay. If that's the case, I will entertain a motion.
Okay. I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed high-impact special use permit application and commercial plan unit development application submitted by Circle C RV Park and Campground Incorporated, agents Lana Kelly and John Godbout, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning, and I have no conditions.
Okay.
Second that.
Okay. Motion was seconded by Mr. Taylor. Any further discussion on the motion?
No.
Okay, we'll call a vote.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Neergard.
Motion was carried, vote was unanimous. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
John?
We'll need your sign back.
Yeah, we'll need your sign.
I didn't take it down. Can I bring it to you tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Sorry.
We thought we
We'll-
brought it to the
We'll
next
just,
meeting.
we'll just change out the meeting and the date and get it back to
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Saunders,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Present.
Commissioner Lynch, Commissioner Neergard.
Here.
All right, notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding an amendment to a high-impact permit, HIP-08-2021, and special use permit, SUP 12-2021, and commercial plan unit development submitted by Brightstar, Agent Troy Jaskowski, on property located at 3261 Road H, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 11.7 acres, more or less, located south of Highway 160, east of Road 27, situated in Section 34, Township 36 North, Range 15 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters and letters to adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
And was the sign submitted?
Yes, sir?
Posted? Okay. Can we have the applicants come forward?
You should be all right turning that one on, Troy. We'll find out.
Jane, can we have Planning Department Finance?
Sure. The Jaskowskis just purchased this property not too long ago. Last year, it was permitted to its current use. And the current owners, Jaskowskis, are wanting to amend the permits to make some additions to the envelope. All the utilities are in place and everything. And they will need to, their current recorded covenants will need to be amended to include any and all changes that they are wanting to do and any necessary language associated with those changes.
All right. Any Planning Commission discussion?
I have some questions. Sign was posted at the property, is that correct? Yep. Is it also correct that the road to get to the property is a private road for about a quarter mile back to the county road? Yes. And there was no posting at the county road, correct? It was only posted on the property?
Yeah, I was instructed to post it on the gate for the campground.
And is it true that at the county road, you have a no trespassing sign on your board there that says the entrance to your property? It says only residents and guests, is that correct?
It's a dead-end road, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is, I'm asking if it says no trespassing other than residents and guests, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So this might be a kind of an issue about the way the laws are read, or probably a misunderstanding on my part, but as I understand it, the posting at the property is there so that the public or the residents in the area can see that posting and read it and be aware, other than the mailings that are made. It's another way to catch area residents and allow them to know that something's being planned on a property in their area. And in this case, I don't know if the laws are that way or not, but in this case, it seems to me like the public in that area, if they weren't exactly adjoining and got a mailing, they wouldn't have an opportunity, well, even if they were adjoining, they wouldn't have an opportunity to read that posting because it's, there's a no trespassing sign that takes it to the property. So, I'm wondering about that. I don't know, is that good or bad, or how does that get, is it something that needs to be resolved?
So the adjoining neighbors are the ones that in the land use code that are stated to be notified, right, Don?
Correct.
And that, in all developments, the sign is posted on the property regardless of whether it's a pass-by access, right? That's where it gets posted. Everybody that is affected by it being adjoining, directly adjoining, are the ones that are notified. It's not their requirement to notify everybody within the surrounding, several miles or whatever that case may be. So in that instance, they're fulfilling their requirements on posting what they're required by the law. by the land use code.
And Commissioner Farian, we do have an online public portal that the planning department posts all applications. If anyone is curious about anything that is posted on there, they can go onto that portal and see every applicant that is coming up or that is being presented tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jane.
And then, if nobody else had.
No, go ahead.
a question. So the previous owner applied for a high-impact permit and a special use permit in '21, and on March 24th of '22, I guess the Board of Commissioners had approved that, and for the purpose of conducting business operations as a bed and breakfast. No other purpose was stated on here, and it was an after the fact, the applicant had been conducting business operations as a bed and breakfast, and it is non-compliant with the county. The applicant is now requesting permitting of this operation in order to become compliant with county regulations. So it was an after the fact application. And then the new owners, as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the new owners purchased this property 1 month later in April of last year.
Yes.
And so the original permit, I believe, was for 7 units, and now it's ratcheting up to an additional 14 units. And so one of my questions, not understanding the rules, I've heard the term segmentation, and I was wondering if you could
That only
tell me-
applies to a PUD, a subdivision.
Okay,
So they are amending the subdivision for some added features.
so that term doesn't apply to this.
Correct,
No.
correct.
Okay.
So segmentation typically, from what we've discussed over the past years or so, is the progress of a development of piece of land further, not a specific section like this, more of breaking it into phases throughout time, right?
And it only applies to one owner or owners in succession?
That's a lawyer question,
It
right?
would have to be to one owner because somebody that hasn't bought it yet can't say they had phase 2 planned before they knew the property existed.
Right,
Yeah,
But that's all subdivision, that doesn't apply to anything here.
right.
yeah.
And then the other thing was on the application, it talks about an event center, and I was curious where the plans for that are. I mean, what are your plans for that?
Should we let them tell us?
Yeah,
So, private events, like weddings. The previous owners did hold a couple of weddings out there. It's a great setup for family reunions. It used to be a children's Bible camp, so there's, the children's play sets are still out there. It's got a community kitchen, the chapel with a big pavilion and a stage for music. It could be a music venue. We wanted to open it up to the local community to lease it out for like 1-day events, 2-day events. They would have to obtain their own special use permit. So everyone, we would know, the neighbors would know, the county would know what their intentions were.
They would be small.
Yeah.
They would not be big,
Yeah.
anything beyond what this impact already is, just with the regular sites. In other words, and it would be, at the time, we don't really have any immediate plans for it. It's
Yeah.
just something that if something comes up, we'd like to entertain the idea, as long as we feel like it's good within the neighborhood,
Yeah.
you know?
We've only been here a year. We've made some contacts and we've invited them out. They said this would be a great place. The county needs more venues like this available. And so I said, yeah.
Could be a yoga retreat,
Yeah,
you know, it
we've
could
had
be a,
requests for
something like
yoga
that.
retreats. We got some
Yeah.
religious retreat.
Yeah.
We're gonna meet this couple out there. They wanna look at it
Yeah.
for this summer.
Or they're an
Um,
annual deal they do with a group of about 50,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing, small.
Jim at Yellow Car, he wants to throw an event out there. And
Have you
Susan.
spoken with your neighbors about this? Have you gotten to know your neighbors?
Most of them, yes, and again, nothing would be in excess of what the normal campground would would have as
Yeah.
far as traffic
Right.
Yep.
or anything like that. It really
Yeah.
wouldn't, yeah, it wouldn't be of any, really any different for the most part.
What was the response from your neighbors? They was generally pretty good, or?
Well, it was included in the packet that was mailed out, so
Yeah.
if there's any opposition to that, I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll be here.
Yeah, it's not our main focus, so
Yeah.
it's, you know,
And-
if there was if someone had a real, like, an
Main-
honest problem with it, then we would
Right.
certainly want to take that into
Yeah.
consideration. We don't want to have problems with our
Yeah, we don't-
neighbors.
yeah, we
So,
don't-
Your,
Yeah.
your main focus is 14 campsites?
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the property was sold to us under false pretense. We were told that everything was going to be approved. It is a campground.
yeah.
And so the previous owner, at the last minute, like 2-3 days before we're gonna close, her agent calls us and says, oh, by the way, the campsites were not included.
And they just found out.
And they just found out.
So it was,
And then Jen, the previous owner, threw Don under the bus,
yeah,
saying, well, I told him about those campsites, and he just brushed off and said, don't worry about it. And I was like going, really? So this is why we're here.
yeah.
We're, you know, so we backed off, renegotiated, because we knew we were gonna lose revenue, but we did not know, what these additional large expenses that are going to, require. A brand-new septic system, the county required for her to put in a 1,500-gallon septic system to collect all the gray water, because it was all just going into flower beds and whatnot,
Which
and
wasn't
2
a
shower
lot.
houses. Wasn't a lot, so that got put in, but, in order for us to offer these campsites for this upcoming season are gonna have to be dry, because the current septic system is only approved for the 7 units, which is the Hogan and the 6 cabins, and the showers and the sinks. That system's maxed out. We did not know that. So, what we need to do is put keyed entries on the showers and only give access for those renting the Hogan and the cabins a key to those showers for this season. And so these 14 campsites will be truly dry.
They'll have
That's-
bathrooms.
Yeah,
And,
I've been
you
talking
know,
to Melissa
yeah.
at the health department and Craig Wickstrom, septic engineer, and I said, well, what about this? You know, he says that would work. And I said, okay, until we can get a second septic system in, and there's enough room in there to put another 1,500-gallon tank side by side and a duplicate leach field right next to it. But that's gonna take some time.
So, on the event center portion of it, is there a plan for building a specific building for that, or is the whole property the event center?
There's already buildings that would accommodate that.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So there's not additional plans for building something more? Okay.
It
No,
already
this is
has a
it.
large community kitchen with an
Mhm.
attached pavilion with picnic tables under there and
And
ping
another-
pong, foosball. And then the chapel is even larger and has a dirt floor, has a stage in the back. That's where they held their services. And there's a stage where bands can set up if they want to. That can be used. So there's 2
Or speakers.
large covered areas. Even, you know, if it was bad weather, we could still hold events there. And there's plenty of parking out there. And then for private events that were multi-day, they would be required to have a reservation. Or they either reserve the whole property, or it gets booked individual campsites, you know, until we're full, and then we shut it off. But max, we're talking like 60 people out there, max.
Yeah, we rarely have that many.
So this was approved for PUD last year, right?
Correct.
And how long has it been a campground? Previous to,
It was,
I
a children's
know they
Bible-
were just bringing.
So it was Camp Krista from 2012 to 2018 as a children's Bible camp. That's why.
I missed that part, sorry.
Yeah, so that's why his and her cabins, his and her shower houses, and,
4
and then,
years.
yeah, and then it was sold in 2018. Jen and Bert turned it into Camp Cush and ran it as a 21-plus cannabis-friendly campground. and then we
4
purchased it, yeah, barely 4 years.
Okay.
So my question to the board would be, how is it possible that a use was in place that is different than the permit that was applied and approved 1 month before they bought the property? So
So it wasn't permitted before.
it was permitted as a bed and breakfast with 7, are they called units?
Yeah, you're talking about the permit from last year.
From the previous owner.
Previous year.
It was
Yeah.
approved in March, they bought it in April, and they're saying that the campground was already in place.
Hmm.
But that.
It
there's
was
nothing
started in
that-
2012.
But there was nothing in that other PUD that indicated a campground, and it's not on any of the drawings, the photos above or anything that show it either. So I'm wondering how that was, it seems like somehow that dropped through the cracks.
Well, previous to them coming into compliance last year, right? They used it clearly for the,
It was a church Bible
for the
camp.
church Bible camp, right? And then they come into compliance last year. Whether or not the person that brought it into compliance knew what they were gonna use it for, right? Or just happened to sell it 1 month later. But they could have said it was a bread and breakfast at that time. I don't think that the stipulations there don't necessarily, I don't know that they matter, right?
No, and we never discussed campsites because that was never disclosed until, these guys were looking at the property.
Right. So then they purchase it a month later. They want to transition that from a bed and breakfast to this campground, and that's essentially what we're reviewing now, whether or not we want to update that permit to let them move forward with a campground as opposed to what it was stated before as a bed and breakfast. Albeit they could use it as a bed and breakfast, right? But this is the amendment to add the 14 additional, right? 14
No,
additional?
So-
14, it's, those campsites have always been there.
That was
She
what
just
I-
left them off.
That's what I was gonna
But she
say.
sold us the property
Most
saying
of
that all these campsites were gonna be
They
approved
had
when we
been
closed.
being-
Pulled the rug out from underneath us right before we closed on the property, threw Don under the bus and said it was his fault.
So they were already established and have been for a while.
Oh,
The
yeah.
campgrounds or the
Yes.
campsites,
Most of these campsites.
you're just
have
bringing
been-
this into
be-
compliance.
yeah,
Yes.
have
You're-
been
There's really nothing you're changing about the property.
No.
just TV.
The only thing that we wanna change in the future, and it's, we're gonna have to put this second septic system is there's 2 shower houses, there's 6 stalls for each shower house. We don't need that many showers out there. So we want to, eventually, omit one of the shower houses and replace that shower house with 2 studio cabins.
Like a tiny home.
Yep, like a tiny home, 400 square feet or less. 2 of those in place of that shower house. And the second septic system will accommodate for that. And that septic system will also accommodate for the water usage on those 14 campsites. But the health department, Melissa says you're gonna have to keep them truly dry until you get that in there. I says, no problem, we'll put keyed entries on those showers for next season. And they won't.
And they
won't-
also know that
Just
if
try
they
around
do
up
do the tiny homes, they will need to come back and do another amendment to their high-impact permit, special use permit, to include those tiny homes.
Would we
That's
have to do that if we got it passed this time and completed it within the allowed 3 years to do the planned unit development?
Because it's on there.
Yeah,
Oh, is it on there? Oh,
yeah, it's on
okay.
there. No,
Yes, if you do it within this application,
yeah.
then you would have the vested rights to do that for the 3 years.
I know the last email I sent you, I said that we were going to omit those, and I was like, wait a minute, we don't need to do that. We can just put them on hold. We'll get them done within.
That's the reason why I told you
the
that,
3-year
but,
period.
yeah, because you
So-
said you weren't gonna do it.
Right, right. I know.
So now
we're
you're gonna
bringing
do it,
that up.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just gonna be
Maybe,
probably
you know.
2 or year 3 down the road.
We'd like to have the
Okay.
option,
Yeah.
I guess.
We have to
Okay.
get that set.
So yes, if,
Outside of that 3
Yeah.
years, if you don't complete it within the 3 years,
Then we would have to
then you'd have to
reapply.
come back or not,
Yes.
not do it.
if you allow your vested rights to expire,
Yeah.
then you would have to come back to us.
Exactly,
Yes.
yeah. for now, we want to keep it on the table.
I think one of the points is that, that I wanted to make is just that this new plan really doesn't add very much traffic to what was in the past. It's just that they didn't have these campsites on the plan. Do you understand what I mean? They were already,
So I'm confused. You said you didn't have the campsites, but you just said that they're currently
No.
there.
They're there.
they're there, they weren't on the plan, is what I mean.
When they weren't on.
When they
Jennifer
applied-
Meeks'
when they applied
PUD
last-
Plan, she purposely left them off
Yeah,
because they were gonna cost her more money. And we got email exchanges between her and Dawn.
found out.
She
yeah.
she said, what if we just abandon the camp altogether?
Oh, yeah.
And I was
She
like,
was just playing with,
gotcha.
yeah.
And I watched both of those videos where she claims that she was like, what about the campsites? I was like, that never happened. That
Okay.
never happened.
Yeah, but the point is, she was running the campsites
She
out
was,
there.
yes.
This plan actually wouldn't increase the traffic from very much at all. I
No.
mean, it's not really
No.
like we're increasing
You-
14 campsites of traffic.
What you're
We're
saying,
not.
what I think you're saying is it wouldn't in the reality.
In the
but it
reality.
Right.
Definitely does in the permits.
Correct.
because
Yes.
The approved permit from
Yeah.
before was
Yeah.
for 7.
Yeah.
You're adding 14, that's a total of 21, correct?
Yeah.
So you're tripling the traffic load if you just look at the difference between the two applications. What
Yeah.
you're saying, it was already
It's
there.
always been
all
operating
along.
like that.
It just wasn't permitted.
We're just
properly.
actually bringing the whole property into compliance now, where she should have done this
Yeah.
in her application.
We kind of were going in thinking that it was, and
Yeah.
kind of got hit at the last minute that it
Yeah.
wasn't. So we needed, and then we needed to figure things out over the last
Yeah.
year, because
It
we
was a
had no
lot.
experience with it to see what,
Yeah.
what do we need to apply for here,
So I have another question. There was a narrative that you prepared with the application. I was wondering if that narrative as well was sent out with the notifications to all the landowners around.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of the packet.
And in the narrative, it says that these events may also include live music, so the neighbors know that
Yes.
you're talking about a possible situation of live music.
Yes, but within the allowable hours.
but whatever
Yeah.
the rules are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any music past,
Yeah.
can't have anything
Okay.
past 50 decibels at the borderline, right?
Right.
So special events or whatever, music, all the loud stuff would have to be shut down at 7 PM.
Everybody's pretty spread out too, and
Yeah.
the place that it would be is way in the back corner.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep,
And
we're
then
right up against ranch land.
Sure.
in the narrative, it says, these 14 campsites are for dry camping only, and the new owner is proposing to erect 4 professionally made painted teepees on 4 of the 14 sites. Has that construction already taken place and those 4 are already in place, or are they at some stage
No,
of
they're
construction?
at some stage.
There's
Yeah,
no
they're
completed-
all not up right now.
There's no completed teepees on the
Yeah.
property.
There are.
There
There's
are.
2 that
We
are
need to get- we
completed,
need-
but they're not renting or
But
anything
they're not
yet.
rented.
They're not
I
finished
set 'em up to
inside,
get
but
practice.
the
I've never
outside
done
is
it before.
finished.
Yeah.
So found one here
Yeah.
locally,
Okay.
and then we got the 3, and one of them's a big one, 24-footer. And I
Yeah,
was like, I'm gonna try and tackle this one and just get it set up.
they're not
Okay.
renting.
Yeah.
They're not renting, they're not completed inside, but
Right.
All right.
outside of a couple of them are.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna open it to public comment. Anybody who'd like to comment, please come forward.
Do I have to state my name?
Yeah, your
Name and
name and
address,
address,
please.
please.
Tricia Hale, 30655 County Road H, Cortez, Colorado. And I'm not against anybody doing a business, but we were never talked to. And I think, as far as I know, I'm the only one that got a packet, and nobody else knew about this. And if there is a sign on the fence, I drive by that every day and I never saw it. I would have to actually look at the fence, so most of us don't even know that this meeting was there. I had to talk to other people. My biggest concern is last September for Labor Day. There were 2 nights of concert, and, sorry, I don't like doing this. And it was the noisiest thing I have ever experienced. We're on 40 acres. There's about 15 acres between us. We could hear every word. My husband has to get up at 3:30 in the morning. The concert went past midnight the first night and till 12:38 the second. I could hear every word of every song, and it was horrible.
I'm sorry. I'm
It
sorry.
was
No,
horrible.
We agree.
It was
We
horrible.
do agree on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Ma'am?
can't talk to you.
Yes.
That's right. I'm sorry. So, and in talking with a couple other neighbors, it was, even the ones past us, it was beyond. And we bought that 40 acres so that we could have peace and quiet. So I'm not happy about that. We want to sell the 5 acres we're on and do our other 35 acres where we want to retire on that. And I've talked with the realtor about what is going in there, and she said it very definitely could affect the value of our property. And if there is live music, I don't know who'd want to live right next to it. So I am very concerned about the live music events. I'm not against other events taking place if they're quiet, except it is a private road that we all have to maintain, and they have a good half mile of it, and we're the property beyond them, and there's 3 or so of us beyond them. And who's going to maintain that? And when they had the event, it was not just a few cars, it was a lot of cars. So who's going to help maintain that or keep that road maintained? Because it's a mess right now. I can't imagine more traffic. The people that lived there before, apparently it was a pot farm campground, so it was very quiet. I think they were sleeping all the time. But there weren't very many cars. We hardly ever passed a vehicle. They had 3 or 4 out there at a time, maybe. So I believe that the impact on this road is going to go up tremendously for these events. And like I said, the concerts and the impact on the road is really what we have the most concern about. And yes, there are 4 teepees. It was kind of surprising to drive up to the different decor, but you know, it's their campground. So, but I think that is most of my concern are those areas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. I got a question. We're from
Name and address, please.
Brittany Martin, 30160 County Road H. So my dad speaks Navajo. He's fluently, so he can hardly understand English. So we are wondering if you could talk to my uncle. He's really fluent as well, but he's up in Pueblo. And we're wondering if you could talk on the phone because he's very fluent. And the road is an easement, that's his property. And that's the reason why he's here. And he's kind of like, we have to go because it's a lot of chaos right now. And with them coming in with a lot of people, it's like more dramatic. And the way they drive fast, the potholes are getting a lot bigger. And some of us have small vehicles, so we do drive slow, but other than that, there's more vehicles that are driving fast. And yes, we did see that there was more stuff added this last year, so we did notice that. We noticed that the loud noises are ongoing, and it just seems like, and no, we haven't met them. We barely met them last week. And that was on New Year's when my uncle put up a sign because we have a lot of people that are coming in intoxicated. So that's one of the reasons why my uncle, because the sign that says dead end fell off. So my uncle had to repost it and put dead end. And then he has the private property. That's why it's kind of like facing because it goes out towards the fence and out that way. But They said that we can't do anything about it because it's easement. And, and then, yeah, our first time was beating them is when my uncle put up a sign that we didn't know, but we ended up taking it down because it was kind of inappropriate. But we did meet them for the first time. We have not really met them. And like the year before, we didn't know it was a marijuana camp. We just thought it was a regular camp until my uncle's the one that said that it's a marijuana camp. And we're like, what's it doing here? We didn't expect that. Then my dad, he's a Christian. He's like, why is it coming into a marijuana camp when it was in Christian? It shouldn't be like that. So it's like, it's kind of like a situation for him because he's been there for a while, for a long time. And we've never had any problems with loud music or anything. He's been there for a long time and it was quiet. We had no problems with all our neighbors. And it's just recently since they came and then a lot more people started coming. So it's an ongoing situation. And just like, is there any more ambulance gonna show up? There was 4 ambulances that showed up the other night. So we don't know, they said it was 4 of them. So it's kind of a situation. So we don't know, because we can see just right there. Because my dad's at the corner. Because they used to live way on top, but it burned down. So now my uncle ended up trying to rebuild a house in there.
Okay.
So now he lives at the corner. So now we're like real close.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That's your 3 minutes. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That's
But
okay.
my question is, can you speak to my uncle? Because it's on the phone and he's Navajo.
I mean, I would.
And I can't
How
really
do you do
translate.
that?
I guess he could be the public comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Just state his name and address.
I don't know if it
You'll
will.
have to put the microphone down to where you can have him hear it.
What's that? Okay, Junior, they're right here. Hold on.
Oh,
You gotta say the land address and the name, and your guys' name.
oh,
The land address and the name, and your name.
this is it.
Oh, don't land, not land.
Oh, lấy đá cái để sơ khuya là cho ai đi này đá cái gì à? Đã cái bạn
Oh, odd ed number.
có phải cái cho nó có chuyện này nào thì cho bạn cái gì à?
And the Nije and land number.
The mayor Alvin Martin Senior. Yeah.
Let me say it, or let me say the address.
Okay, go ahead.
It's his name is Alvin Martin Senior, and 11. What was it? County Road H.
30160.
Yeah, 3610 County Road H, and are they listening?
Yeah, you're on speaker.
Oh, okay. And we live there, and my father lives there, and my father cannot read and write, and my name is Alvin Martin Jr., and I'm currently working out of town and stuff, but I come back, and all the activity that goes on there, people going back and forth, and sometimes motorcycle, bicycles, UPS, and activity going on. And for me, I don't mind the people that live back there, but you get all kinds of different people with out-of-state plates, and I don't really know what goes on there, but it's people going back and forth, and we have dogs out there, and they are chained up, but people come running and walking and stuff, so we got to watch over them and protect them. And the things that they do out there, I don't agree with it, and that they posted on the internet stating that it's a good place, come out here and enjoy things like that. Yes, it is, but they didn't allow us or tell us what they were doing. And I know that the surrounding people do not like that. And I personally, and my father, you know, we don't like that because of the things that go on there. Yes, it is their property, but people come through my property, our property, to get to there. And I could post a sign saying, you know, no traffic, but I got to allow people to go through there. So, with that being said, you know, it's and people going back and forth all day long. And then you got people that live in the back there and stuff, and I'm sure they don't agree with whatever's going on out there, and I don't agree with it. But I have seen what they have posted on the internet and saying that it's a great place and this and that, and yeah, I'm sure it is for people that just come out there, but not for people that live around there, the surrounding areas, the local people, and seeing traffic going back and forth constantly, and especially the UPS and the FedEx going in and out of there, and I don't know what they order or what they deliver, but it's going out there constantly. And I don't know what goes on out there. I mean, I do, but it's none of my business. But what is my business is all that traffic that goes through the property.
They only have a 3-minute limit speaking.
Oh, okay.
Hả? Ta sẽ hả gì?
I thought hasti.
AI cho bà hai gì à? Hả? Ở khỏi ở đây.
Oh, I caught a ginger, you know.
Ở khỏi hả gì cả.
I thought hasti.
Ở khỏi ở đây có đi à?
Okay. That's her.
Okay. Okay.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll call
Thank you.
after.
Okay.
88.
Bye.
88.
88.
88 hả?
So, Don, on the easement, is there requirements on that easement? Traffic flow requirements?
This is from 1973. It's just stated as a road easement.
It doesn't say what the traffic should be, you know, how many units it's.
No, there's no stipulations. This is just,
Only one road. So there's not two lanes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll bring this back later.
All right, sir, come on up.
Hi, excuse me, my name is Ken Dagener. I live at 30776 County Road H. I'm approximately half a mile past these folks' place where they're doing the campground and so forth. Excuse me. I did not receive any notification of anything going on as far as a meeting or what was happening with the property that they're looking to develop. I was told by my neighbor about this meeting tonight. So I'm just kind of trying to get filled in on what's going on. I have similar concerns with regards to the road and the traffic.
Far away.
It is a, pardon?
No, it's not.
It is a private road, and we have to maintain it. I've been out there since 1981. Myself and one other person were the only people for a long time that put any material or anything road work, maintenance, or anything into that road, and we kept it up. Since the people have, when it became a campground for the 3 years ago or 4 years ago, whatever it was, they did a little bit of road improvement in terms of putting some material on the road, and another neighbor has since moved out, and they put a little more material and stuff on the road that I had helped pay for. So I'm concerned about that, about the road and the traffic that there. I'm also concerned about the number of people that might be coming to any kind of an event. The event that they had earlier that's already been mentioned last year, I live again half a mile past these folks, and I was woken up in my house by the bands and so forth that were going on, and ended up having to close my windows in order to get back to sleep. So I'm hoping that we don't have that kind of noise going on out there again. And so those are my concerns, the noise level, increase in traffic, and the fact that I didn't seem to be notified for what was happening here. Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We spent a lot of money on those notifications. They were all sent out to these
I would
numbers.
like to
Yeah.
address
Way at the end
the,
of the road.
Yeah.
I would like to address the issue of the people that say that they did not get notification. The land use code and Colorado state statute says that we only have to notify people that are adjoining properties, not somebody that is miles and miles away. And still, your property does not touch his. It has to touch the property, yes.
A couple of things, can I address a couple of things real quick?
Give me just a minute.
Okay.
Any further public comment? No? Okay. We'll bring it back to the commission. Go ahead and you can address.
Oh, just a couple of things. Well, number one, we don't get any deliveries. We have no UPS or FedEx trucks, zero. I mean, that's not true. We actually recently have had about one or about maybe two a month. Maybe two, we had a couple deliveries out there recently, but we don't typically get any deliveries out there. We get them all at the post office and at our house down the road. It's rare.
Occasionally,
It's rare.
a
So
package
it's
gets
somebody
dropped
else.
off down there.
It's
Okay.
somebody else.
Yvonne, who drives the
Yeah,
UPS truck,
she can get
she
back
knows
and
where our other address is.
She brings
And
them to
even
her
if
house.
something is addressed to the 30261, she brings it to our other address.
And the other
Okay.
thing is, it's only open 6 months a year. I
But
mean,
this
so this is not
Delivery
year
trucks in
round.
and out is BS.
This is not year-round traffic, but
Yes, ma'am.
we've already talked to neighbors about contributing on the road.
Yeah, we know
We
that
understand
story.
that we understand quite a few of the neighbors, including the ones that just complained. Some of
Yes.
them have contributed zero.
Okay, so
Um,
we're not here to play the blame game.
Yeah, no, I'm
Okay?
just
It's
saying
like, you
that, I'm
know-
just saying,
No.
these are kind of,
So
like,
this
no
applies
one's
to you guys
talked
as
to
well.
us
So
about
let's,
these things.
let's
But I
talk
will
about what
say
we're doing here,
that the
okay?
one, the event thing, that was a one-time thing, okay?
Yeah.
That we didn't know the rules, and we didn't realize that people could even hear it that far away, and we should have cut that off earlier, but we already know not to do that again.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
done
we know
deal.
county ordinance now.
And
so-
that was a private thing, and it's not gonna happen
Yeah.
again.
In
And
future
so
events,
it
it's shut
shouldn't be
down.
anything for anybody to be all upset about, because it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen again. And it was a Sunday night, I guess, on a Labor Day, you know,
Okay.
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
so that's kind of, but all this traffic, it's not an increased traffic. And we were like 65 people maxed out including us, on
Yeah.
that property that weekend. That was it. And I know, and, that was including us and our guests in the house and everything. That was not, in addition to the campground,
Okay.
It was 65 people, including us.
Any,
Go on and on about what's going on.
that's
but,
okay. I think we've got
we'll spare you.
the idea here. Any commission discussion here?
Yeah, I noticed in the application, the page with the threshold standard evaluation down on number 11 for traffic, it says it's marked exceed and it's marked mitigate, and it's a part that I don't understand about the application. How is the mitigation being required, and what is done to mitigate the excessive traffic?
So it falls in that, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, because it's a high impact permit, right, and a special use permit, that you're stating it exceeds it, therefore it breaks the threshold of a standard
Correct, requiring the high impact.
requiring the high impact permit. So that's an indicator showing that it exceeds certain thresholds, and therefore it's requiring the high impact permit, which is what they're applying
And that's
for.
the mitigate that is being talked about?
Correct.
It's mitigated by stepping up the ladder as far as the requirements
Correct, yeah, you're no longer within the threshold of the regular permit, therefore you have to go to the high impact, which requires public comment, public application, those things.
So one mitigating factor, I mean, there could be a stipulation, no more than one vehicle per dry campsite, so you don't have 2 or 3 at each campsite. Those are types of mitigation that you can do as far as traffic's concerned. For events, if they're gonna pull a special use permit, then mitigation would be to have shuttles run versus 50 cars. You have 3, or a shuttle running, you know, from somewhere.
I had a question on the special use permit, when, for each event, would that require them to come before us on each one of those?
That would, unless the special use permit here covers, specific occasions, dates, and limits of traffic and people.
But if it doesn't in this one, then
Right.
they have to come forward.
Right, if somebody wants to
which would
lease out the thing, they would have to
Yeah,
come
that's what I thought.
and do the application and public hearing process.
It's a public event.
Yeah, is that right?
No,
We
it's-
have the right to hold private events on the property.
Well, you,
But public
if your high impact permit, special use permit does not say you're gonna have 150 people there 4 times a summer,
which it would not.
then that would be exceeding the conditions.
Yeah, no,
Even if it's private, if you
within-
have 200 people in your family, you can't have them there every weekend.
Yeah, no, and we stated earlier, we would never expect to see like maybe 60, 70 tops,
Yeah,
probably 60.
it just can't hold
You
that.
know.
But 60 people can create a lot of noise, right? Especially for
No,
surrounding neighborhoods.
Well, first of all, no one's noisy, no one's ever been noisy out there, ever.
Yeah.
Never,
Okay.
except that the music that one night, that one weekend, is the only time we've had anything I would qualify as noisy. It's very quiet out there, very quiet. I mean, and you could look through you could read through all of the reviews for years,
Yeah.
but just for the last year, and you can see, oh, it's quiet, it's lovely, it's a peaceful place. That's what it is. It's not noisy, it's not loud. People aren't racing. I've never seen people race down that road, ever.
Yeah.
I'm out there, I mean, I'm not out there 24/7, and maybe some people do, but they're not, if you're talking Road H, like the main part of Road H, people race up and down that road all the time. I'm talking about once you hit the gravel road to come back towards the property, that's a slow driving, big deal right there, no one goes fast.
I think the event process takes care of that concern.
The special use permit.
Uh-huh. So I'm not
Unless it's
necessarily
a-
worried about that.
Did I hear that right, Don? If it's a private event, they don't need it?
Well, there's still gonna have to be, some limits set if they're asking for open-ended private events.
Right, exactly. That's my concern is if we see, I mean, anybody could say it's a private event, right? And have 150 people and get through the loophole, which completely goes by what the concerns are of the neighbors, right? Which is, if the loophole is saying it's a private event, you could ultimately say that it's a private event on anything. And therefore, leaving it open-ended is a concern.
I think you could just make a condition, though,
Yeah.
so that, if the threshold exceeds 50 people, because it seems like 60 is where issues have arisen, and, if any event is planned to go past 9 PM, 10 PM, then it moves past that to the special use.
Yeah. Reasonably, what do you think, how many people do you think you can house with the proposed 14 campgrounds, right? What's that in a regular day use, what does that look like? How many people is that?
On the 14 sites?
On the whole,
Usually it's
on the whole
1 to 2
thing?
people per site. Typically, it's only 1 to 2 we have a lot of times it's just one person. We rarely have 2 cars per site. That's super rare.
Yeah.
It's usually one vehicle because people come together, they're camping.
But with the additional 7 that are already there,
Yeah.
right? So you're saying 28 people for the new campgrounds. How many more people with the units that are already there?
Could be staying at the property.
Right, yeah, what, on a,
If you were booked solid on Labor Day weekend,
Right, that
how
was
many
our
people
max.
would you
Yeah.
We
roughly
were
have?
booked solid.
Yeah.
That was
Okay,
our
how many
only
was that?
time, and we had
We
65
had
people.
about 60 people out there.
Including maybe us and a couple of friends that were out there.
That
not
would,
camping.
if you had 2 people per car, that'd be 30 vehicles roughly. 20 to 30 vehicles. Is that a
Yeah,
fair
it wasn't that
statement?
many,
No, it
because
wasn't
people
that
came
many.
in groups more.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
they
did
were-
not have 30
There were,
vehicles.
yeah, a lot of them were like 6 to a vehicle.
I can't see that we had more than 20 vehicles. I mean, I'd have to sit down and really count it
Yeah.
out, but a lot of people come in 3 and 4s, because they came from further away,
Yeah.
you know, from Utah. They all came from Utah for that.
But I would think adding live music on top of the campground being full would constitute a special event or special feature, unless you're having live music for every weekend, every time that you're
No,
open. So
no.
that would, like,
Well, I was
threshold plus live music equals special use.
I was talking the, on average, what
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that amount? And then after that amount, that's when special use permit needs to be considered. That and/or live music.
Yeah,
Once you
anything
break
above
over that
max
threshold.
occupancy requires,
Yeah.
Something else I'd like to point out, I think one of the public speakers made the comment that it's one way in and out. It's 3 miles from the end of the paved County Road H, so it's a quarter mile away from the property. It's 3 miles from there back to the T intersection where you've got 2 ways to go. So there's 3 miles of property that are gonna see 3 miles of road, where the traffic has to pass. It's not like they have a choice of which way to come in. There's 3 miles of one access.
It's county road till the turn. Is it not, Dawn?
It's county road until it turns red on that one.
Right. And you're saying that's 3 miles?
That's 3 miles, that county road back to the stop sign where.
So from the end of Road H where the turnaround is 0.4 miles to their driveway?
Yeah, because that's an 11-acre section, so that's not, that's not,
So the county has a turnaround at the end of the green road.
so
Yes.
it's only 0.4 of a mile from the regular kept road to their,
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, there's only one way to get to that property, and there's, I'm saying from here this way,
Right.
all the way back to the stop sign. There's no other roads that intersect,
sure.
and there's a 3-mile stretch there of agricultural property
And then this is where,
that will be impacted by the traffic going
But
to
if
those
need be, they
events,
can
is
use
what
it.
I'm saying.
Gotcha, I understand what you're saying.
Silo Bonito subdivisions, they're a mile to the west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's maintained road though, by the county.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion from the commission?
It looks like it's mostly agricultural around that.
Yeah, agricultural, residential. Anything else? Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve, an amendment to a high-impact permit number HIP 08, 2021, special use permit number SUP 12, 2021, and a commercial planned unit development submitted by Bright Star agent Troy Jaskowski based on the following: the proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. The conditions that I have are that any event that is beyond the threshold of full occupancy for the campground requires a special use permit or to go through that process. Should there be any more people on the property, or if it is a live music type of event that may disrupt the neighbors in any capacity.
Any motion to second? Okay. And I can't second it, right, Don?
Correct.
Okay. Seeing no second, the motion fails. And we can entertain a different motion.
Do you all have ideas of different conditions, or?
I don't feel it fits within that rural agricultural area. We've run into this situation going down Weber Canyon. You know, that is rural out there. Now, it was approved for what it has there, you know, what is currently there. You know, that's been passed and it's all been approved. Seeing the impacts that are gonna happen to that road and the disturbance in that agricultural area, I can't in good faith approve adding additional these campsites. I know you guys were sold that these campsites were there, and that's an unfortunate situation. But I can't make a motion to approve that.
Yeah, I think it's unfair since those things were already happening. I mean, they're just trying to bring it up to code. We could add a condition about creating some sort of HOA type of road maintenance situation, which sounds like it should be in place anyway. I'm having an issue not letting these businesses move forward because it doesn't fit with the area. You know, they can put things in place not to create disruption, but I mean, it was already happening.
I kind of feel similar to this commissioner. I understand that the owners had information prior to closing on the property that what was there and what was lacking in terms of permitting. And therefore, they had the choice whether to follow through and close or not. I have issues about commercial developments in agricultural areas. This has already been approved for 7 units, and it seems to be working out okay, but to ratchet it up to 3 times that many units, I don't think I can support that.
I mean, keep in mind, this is tourism dollars. I mean, people that were already coming and they're trying to do things the right way. I think
Nothing's being ratcheted up.
it's okay, that,
Yeah.
this is us. You know, I think that's the reason that we can put conditions in place. And we should really consider, when we're turning these things down, the impact that it's having to business and tourism. You know, it was already happening. This isn't a brand new idea.
So I look at this as this business is established currently. This is where it was already here. We look at the impact of They ultimately could have put any number of campsites on the property previous to them bringing this into compliance. I don't necessarily think it fits here, but it's here.
It's here.
Yeah, it's here. And the additional, the concerns that I have is that you guys didn't reach out to your neighbors to explain what you were doing, okay? Outside of the stuff that you are required to do. And we talk about being a rural community, and we see this happen a lot. People do not work with their neighbors.
But there's also checking the boxes, right? Like
There are checking the boxes, and I agree. And this, like I said, this is already established. The expansion is, I'm on the fence with it.
I think we need to put something in place if we want people to go make friends. People just don't do that anymore. They're out of practice.
Question, does this application fall into the same group as after the fact permit application?
So nothing about this is after the fact, right, Don? Essentially, they're adding these adding these to it already?
Sounds like there's been camping in these spots previously. Some of the imagery vaguely looks like that's how it was used.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I mean, I don't know if after the fact or moving forward makes any difference.
Yeah, I mean, you can clearly see there are some camping spots here that are being used.
It's happening.
The others out here look like it's an opportunity to add available use out of the property.
So if it does fit into that category, then what we have is a property where last year an after-the-fact permit was applied for and approved, and 1 year after that, another after-the-fact permit is being applied for.
This one will not be an after the fact.
It's not?
This is amending the existing.
Yeah, this is amending the existing.
I mean, you can always look, if you don't like 14 new dry campsites, you can look at mitigating that, 12, 10, 8.
They pay a
4
lodger's
teepees.
tax for dry campsites.
What's that?
Is there a lodger's tax for dry campsites?
Yes, anytime you're renting out, from what I understand, a spot, then there's a lodger's tax involved.
So think of,
Airbnb collects that tax.
I mean, think of all the all of the rogue campsites around the community, and the lodger's tax that is not being collected, revenue that the county's not spending.
My biggest concern isn't so much the amount of camp spaces that they want to put in, but the events. Again, being in a rural area, I don't know, with the noise and things like that, if that's feasible for that area.
I mean,
with the added traffic and all that, I'd be for amending it to do the campsites, but not the special event permits.
Yeah, and I think that's why there's that process to be able to get an event permit. So
Right.
you could also say no events without event permit.
Right.
Yeah, so,
And that's the way I feel about it. I mean,
okay. Well, we can entertain, motions that include those types of limitations, if you will, and take a vote on it.
Wasn't that, I may be misunderstanding, but what he's saying, wasn't that included as a condition in your motion? Or
No, it
was there
wasn't.
something
No,
else?
it was not
No,
put
it
in her
wasn't.
motion.
It wasn't in her
I
motion
said
to approve it
anything
and to do the
Over full
special.
occupancy.
Right, she said anything over full occupancy or which included live music, correct?
Yeah,
Right. And so you're ultimately saying the same thing?
No.
No, I'm sorry, I was talking to Ted.
No, I guess I am. Yeah. Okay, well, I guess then, I misunderstood.
Because if
That's
you
okay.
put that condition on, if they go over the threshold, right? And/or there's live music, they have to apply for a special use permit.
Okay, I misunderstood, so.
Yeah.
and that gives the neighbors a heads up about what's
Right,
happening
exactly.
and
Well,
protects
that was-
against the,
That was my biggest concern,
Yeah.
was the neighbors. I mean, I have campgrounds around where I live, and, you know, they don't do any special events or anything, so
Yeah.
I have no problem with them, but,
Okay.
and in the interim, they can set up a group chat.
So
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I move to deny the permit application based on the fact that it doesn't fit with our rural agricultural views. Bottom
It's
line.
just about,
Second the motion.
Hold on. We've got things you have to read here. So please make the motion
What are you asking me to read?
to deny the
Oh, okay.
regarding the amendment. of-
Motion to, I recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to deny this permit process regarding amendment to high impact permit and commercial planned unit development submitted by Bright Star agent Troy Chakowski based on the following.
Okay. All right, and then you second it?
I second it.
Okay. Then we'll take a vote.
Wait, don't go so fast. I'm having to dictate here.
Or-
So-
Or to understand the vote, the motion is to deny, so a yes vote is to deny.
Correct. You're making.
Correct. And Commissioner Taylor, can you restate your reason for the denial
Sorry, Jane.
motion?
That it does not fit within our rural agricultural views.
Thank you.
And when you get.
Are you ready, Jane?
Yeah. I can't write
Okay,
fast enough.
Sorry, Jane.
Commissioner Farian,
Nay.
Commissioner Saunders,
nay.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Commissioner Neergard.
nay.
Motion fails.
Okay,
Fair enough.
so we'll entertain a motion.
Okay. I will make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve an amendment to high impact permit HIP 08 2021 special use permit number SUP 12/2021 and commercial plan unit development submitted by Bright Star agent Troy Jaskowski based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with proposed zoning. Getting faster. Conditions to the motion, any special event that is above the threshold of maximum occupancy for the property must go through the special event permit process. Is that the correct term for it? Special event permit process, as well as, which is any event with live music must go through the special event process.
I have a question.
Yes.
What are you saying is the threshold?
65, is that what you all said?
60,
Your max occupancy for the units. 60,
about 60 people.
okay, so,
60?
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm saying if they're going to have an event on top of the capacity of the campground, that should go through special event. If they're having live music at the campground and there's still 40 people, that should go through special event.
So you want for the special event, live music, you want a threshold of 40?
No, I'm saying.
No, any live music
Any live
requires
music,
a
like,
special.
any-
no matter
oh,
the
oh,
number of people, any live music,
Okay, okay,
any event
okay.
that will be above 60 should also, in fairness to the road, the neighbors, et cetera.
So, question, in the first time you read the condition, you specifically said any special event, and then later there was some discussion. Does that word special limit which events are under this condition, or does it need to be any event whatsoever that is above the occupancy or includes live music? So
I think
does
my
that-
condition I think that makes it so
Any special.
it's people-related and music-related.
Yeah, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
if you say any special event, then what do you call a special event? That's what I'm trying to say.
So I think
Or
it's
should you
any
say
event.
event?
Am I correct? in
Well, I mean,
Wedding.
I think it's special because it's outside of the day-to-day operations.
saying- Right, so the regular day-to-day is the camping, utilizing
Yeah.
of the campground. If there is an event of any degree
Wedding, family reunion,
that
Exceeds the
has
threshold.
live music, or B is above that threshold of people, is that what you're?
Yeah, and I say special because that's the permit process.
I
It's
agree
for
with
like
you. I
a
was just clarifying
one-off.
so that they
So,
understand.
like anything that's a one-off, like not day-to-day operations.
Anything
Alright,
outside of
On
the,
a special permit usage, they have to notify the neighbors and post and.
they'll come through the same
It goes,
process.
it
They
goes
have to go
through the
through
two
the same
public,
process.
They will probably
Process.
never want to have a
Correct.
special event after
Okay,
this.
so the neighbors would be notified of.
correct.
Not our focus.
Yeah, it's not the focus of the
Not at all.
are you gonna add any conditions on the road usage and the impact on that single lane?
I mean, I would-
Non-county maintained road.
I don't know how far I can go. I could make a recommendation that there is a I don't know how far I can go. A recommendation to,
We would love an HOA where everyone contributes to that road, including us, and we would disproportionately.
I just don't know what my boundaries are.
I mean,
Let me have
you
him
could
answer this first.
require continuance road maintenance during the season.
Yeah. And
Now, I don't know that you wanna get specific that you're gonna add 12 tons of gravel or you're gonna blade it 3 times a week. Obviously, when it gets bad, if it gets dusty, it needs watered. If you're having a lot of people continuous in and out, if it gets rutted, I think the other condition or the other information needs to be the months of operation. I'm not sure that was,
Mid-April through mid-October.
okay. So I would have that as a condition too.
condition for what?
What was it, May to October?
That the permit
You
is
can't-
May to mid-October.
active,
Like May
Oh.
active within that timeframe. So outside of
Just so
those-
we quantify.
Yeah.
So it's not a New Year's bash in the mud and destroying the road, it's not Christmas, it's not Halloween, it's not just at random.
Okay, so during peak season, I suppose. And then I would just say, I would recommend that you would work on forming an HOA or some sort of road maintenance agreement, and perhaps bringing something to the commissioners stating that you've started that process would be advisable.
Can I say something about the road and who's gonna be maintaining this road? It's gonna be 3 people, Doug, Billy, and myself.
Well,
No one else will do
We all
anything.
have
It's okay.
tractors, and we all have the means
That's-
to pitch in for the materials.
that's why I'm saying maybe
The history of this
approach,
We have-
that's why I don't want to go beyond that, because
Right.
that's out of my scope. So
We have.
I'm gonna
What we've
go,
heard,
I'm gonna go back
what's
here.
Pitching in on the
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
and your question.
Question, yeah, so, as I understand it, that quarter mile from the county road to their property is private property not owned by the applicant, is that correct?
It's not owned by anybody.
It's easement.
It's an easement.
It's an
So
easement.
therefore, it's viable use for anybody that has property back there.
And no one can go in and gate it off or do anything like that,
Correct.
Okay, so
It's,
the,
it's open.
This actually, if you want to know too much information, was an 8-lot subdivision back in '73, but nobody's acknowledged that. I just found this old plat, but it has the dedicated road, not part of anybody's property.
so
And obviously, nobody's assigned to maintain it, there's not an HOA, but like most of our subdivisions around here, there's not an operating HOA, so you have a road group that takes care of things.
So, did I hear you say that you are recommending that
I'm-
an HOA be formed?
Or a road group maintenance club.
Yeah. Which has already been formed.
Great, so documentation would be helpful for the commissioners, because I'm sure that would help the case. So I'll bring it back to Zach.
Okay. And we've got a second. Sorry, just trying
You
to
get to
keep
restate it.
track, right? I do think the road maintenance needs to be a high priority, and I think that should be part of the conditions, which I think you stated. I'm just restating, I do think that is part of maintaining a roadway that gets more use from you guys than it does anybody else in that area. Okay? Okay, so we will call a vote,
Oh,
right?
someone has to second.
Oh, I thought Ted seconded it.
I second.
Oh, wait,
Okay.
wait, okay.
I'm sorry. Did I miss that?
I don't know.
Just trying to keep up here.
Me too. Okay.
Roll call is Commissioner Farian.
Roll call or vote?
Vote, sorry.
Okay.
And we're voting for,
For my thing.
For the approval.
To
with-
approval with the
Amend-
listed
okay,
conditions.
With the
okay.
conditions.
Commissioner
Aye.
Farian. Commissioner Saunders.
Aye.
What did you say?
I said aye.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Commissioner Taylor.
Nay.
Commissioner Lynch.
Nay.
Commissioner Neergard.
I,
Okay, motion was carried, vote was 3-2. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for your patience.
Did you bring your sign? I'll grab it. One other thing, just for everybody out there. If you contact the County Road and Bridge Department, from my understanding, they will supply gravel, as long as you haul it, place it, spread it.
Great.
But, visit with Rob Engelhardt,
We'll
and
do that.
if,
sounds
if not,
nice.
not supplied, at least it will be drastically reduced price.
Yeah,
It's a nice option.
Okay. All right, we'll get roll call here in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, additional discussion.
Do we need roll call first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you all for coming. You too, Queenie.
Hi, Queenie. Don, can we have roll call?
Did you get my agenda? Okay.
Commissioner Farian.
Here.
Commissioner Saunders.
Here.
Commissioner Taylor.
Present.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Commissioner Neergard.
here.
How did it become 7:30?
All right. Well, welcome to new commissioners. Glad to have you guys.
Thank you, I guess. Let's see if you like me or not here pretty quick. Eddie's gonna throw rocks at my house.
I got to stand up. I'm sorry. I'm not leaving. I just got to stand up.
Do what you gotta do.
Announcing the future list of potential members. What's that, Don?
So when they did the interviews, it's similar to what we did, when you guys were interviewed, is that, county commissioners prefer to, because we had so many applicants, to go ahead and add 3 additional, applicants to a list. So if any of the members currently, leave the board, then in order, those other selected individuals can be moved in as
Gotcha.
either the alternate position or as a member.
So there's no lag time.
You don't love that?
Because,
See you on Tuesday.
I know,
Not my deal.
I know, but every time I don't love it, because I think it doesn't allow for people to get in on the process as they're finding out that there's a change. So I just wanted to bring that up, because I know that and people that missed it, that's totally fine. But if someone drops off for any reason during the process, I just think it should be open to the public, or that list has an expiration date. So,
Oh, it's not open-ended forever, no.
Yeah, it's not open-ended.
like 6 months?
But when you have to interview 13 people.
Oh, I get it.
I heard there was quite a bit.
Yeah, and then
It
3
takes an
more
entire
called
day.
after to the deadline.
I get it. Hiring sucks.
So it's good interest from around the county.
Definitely.
It is great interest, and it's nice to not have a lag time, but to your point, it also, if it was, say it's a year that they're on that list, and somebody leaves, new people have moved into the area,
Yeah.
people have left the area, other people have retired and or decided that they want to. So I do like the list, but with limitations, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
ongoing.
Yeah,
We typically do a year.
okay.
It kind of depends on the circumstances. We don't have much turnover on P and Z unless there's a health issue,
Right.
or longevity and they can't take it anymore.
Well, and most people step down after December anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
And so within so you're on that list to cover for a medical thing, or somebody just, they've had it, they don't want to be out here anymore. So I get that.
Yeah.
I think the year is the right time frame.
Right.
As long as there's an end date. I
Fair
just
enough.
wanted to say my piece.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
We have to vote on chairman and vice chairman. So we'll take.
That sounded like clapping.
We'll take nominations for chairman.
I nominate Zach Farian for chair.
Second.
Okay.
Right now. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, she's writing it down. I have it on tape. Hey, no texting during meeting.
Teresa, I just take us to a party.
Haley, you seconded?
Yeah. Something with Alex for the band.
Okay.
And we'll call vote.
Commissioner Farian?
Can I vote for myself?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep.
Commissioner Saunders?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch?
Aye.
Commissioner Neergard?
Aye.
All right.
Congratulations, Zach.
Thank you.
And I'll make it a motion to nominate John Hernandez for co-chair.
I'll second that one.
All right, Commissioner Farian?
Aye.
Commissioner Saunders?
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor?
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch?
Aye.
Commissioner Neergard?
Aye, I guess.
All right.
He's very nice.
Chair and vice
Yep.
chair.
Okay, and it was seconded by Taylor.
Yep.
Okay, call the vote. Did you already do that?
Yeah, we voted.
Oh,
Yep, everybody said
Do you get a
yes.
treat for that?
Do I get a what?
A treat?
I thought I got a special t-shirt or like
You get
a,
$5 more a
you
meeting.
know, like a
I heard we-
special.
I
like a
heard we
special
got a
what?
raise.
I do have
Oh, we did?
something to say, guys. The planning department has, requested to the Board of County Commissioners and to the county administrator to increase your wages from $40 per session to $100 per session.
Oh, wow, we can go eat
Yeah,
now.
I heard about that.
It has been approved, and you will be getting $100 per session.
Dang.
Dang,
And it will continue to be paid quarterly.
okay. That's great.
So congratulations on your pay raise.
Went from monthly to quarterly, or has it always been quarterly?
It's always been quarterly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always been quarterly.
The only time it's monthly is if you miss a few in that quarter,
No.
and then it looks like it's monthly.
Yeah, if you only come to one meeting out of 3, then you only get monthly.
I miss a few, but not that many.
And then after the fact,
Do you
applications.
have any follow-up paperwork?
I don't. I
Okay.
don't. So last we spoke, John was going to submit, or we're going to submit John's portion of, or his
Proposal?
proposal of after the fact, which his included everything. And mine will be similar, but limited to PUDs.
Let me catch these guys up real quick.
Okay.
The commissioners asked us to come up with a plan, these after the fact, this scenario that we just had.
Right.
There was one last month, it's better to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. I'll build it
And then
20 feet off the line and then say, hey, well, can we help? So they've asked us as a commission, as planning and zoning, to come up with a plan that mitigates what are we gonna do with these after the factors? And how are we going to structure it to gain compliance with everybody that's built after the fact?
Well, and it's to incentivize or keep from people asking for forgiveness and not permission, right? So the proposal is that if we're going to give them we're gonna announce it across all the different aspects that we get information out to the public, that they will have a specific time period in which they can become compliant, okay? After said time, they will incur 4 times the regular cost,
Application costs.
application cost, if they are caught, obviously. We don't have an enforcement, but if they go to apply for something new and they're not in compliance, it's 4 times the traditional cost of that, okay?
And neighbors are very good watchdogs.
Yeah. Which, so, we talked last time, I think it will be, and I think you mentioned this at one point, that it will be a can of worms if we open it to every infraction. But if we start out and limit it to PUDs, which are very apparent if you have too many units on a piece of property, that's pretty clear. We open it up, we start out with something like that, and then progressively move into the rest of the infractions throughout time on a schedule. But initially, we start with PUDs.
So like with these guys, they're a good example. If people come in and we're like, no, we're not gonna approve you to come in compliance, what happens then? Do they have to get everything cleaned up, or the 4 times comes in order? Like,
Whether it's the 1 year or 2 year,
They'll have to.
Yeah.
remove
They have to
some
start
buildings.
removing things from their property.
knock it down.
yeah, I'm just thinking about the implications for the businesses. We just need to be thoughtful about
I understand.
having a process
Yeah.
to, just so people don't think they can walk in and it's on automatic approval if you're coming to get your forgiveness.
Well, and I completely agree with you, because we don't want people, oh yeah, they're approving it. All I have to do is pay the 4 times and I'm good. In reality,
It's all about the money and.
right, in reality, it's, the 4 times is a penalty, but it doesn't mean you're gonna get approved.
No,
Yeah, you're not buying an automatic approval.
no.
Now, and we talked about this last time, I think the only exception to that is a scenario in which somebody buys a piece of property that is not compliant, right? And it can show they've done their due diligence on the proper people they've reached out to see if it was in compliance. Turns out it's not after they purchased the property, then we can't penalize them. 'Cause
Well,
that's not on
let's
them.
take
So, like,
what
they
happened this
knew.
evening.
Example right here,
For
yeah.
what happened this evening, for example. So they bought 14 campsites. Oh, wait, by the way, that's not on the books, but we're still renting them out. And they are renting them out, the new owners are renting them out, and it's not approved.
Right. So in this,
But
they said.
they came to the planning office
To
and
correct that.
no, to ask us what was proposed last year.
Mhm.
So they went ahead and bought that property,
Right.
knowing full well that that was not approved.
Right, because they had said that 2 days before they closed,
Right,
they got the call
They
and said
sprung
they
it on
didn't
them.
have it. So in which case, they knew full well going into that purchase, in which case, I mean, in my mind, they get.
They got an
that
email
falls
from me
into
and
that.
they had to pull down all their advertisements for their campground, their campsites, because I told them you're doing exactly what I told you you can't do and you won't do.
Interesting.
It's willful negligence on their part.
So they were renting out these campsites, but
And they knew
they
that
did
were
pull it
in
all down when I
non-compliance.
contacted them and they got rid of that.
Can I ask
But
a-
it's a babysitting exercise.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about how our process is supposed to work in terms of coming back to the commissioners with something? Is it just gonna be the gentleman you mentioned and you putting forth a recommendation? Or do we have
Well, we just
to agree on a recommendation? Or is it everybody give their own idea? Or
So.
how does that work?
How it typically works is, well, previous to this, everybody that was involved had the opportunity to submit their idea of what that proposal looks like. Once we bring it here and we have enough attendance, then we vote on something to move forward to the commissioners.
I
Right?
think it makes sense for them to review since they're new.
No, I know,
Yeah.
I was just explaining, that's how that
But like
process
normally,
works.
And
anything
once-
that we're asked to do, we brainstorm, come up with something and then move forward.
And once everything is approved by you guys, all of you, then Zach, being the chairman, would go and present it to the Board of County Commissioners.
And then they have public comment, it gets thrown out, and we go back to square one.
Right.
So do we only vote on the ideas that we've been given in our packets? Or do we discuss those in a meeting until we're done discussing?
So we can discuss it here, we can't email and
No.
create, or do a phone, like a group call or anything like that.
Okay.
That
If you have
constitutes a meeting.
proposals, and the only time we do this is when the commissioners task us
Yeah.
with something like this. In which case, you have the opportunity to put down what you think is good, then you bring it to us, we discuss that, and it's a back and forth for a little while, right?
Yeah.
Until we can all come together and decide on something that we want to vote on, and then move toward the
So
commissioner.
we're coming into this after you guys have already been discussing since, what, July or
Oh, it's been
sometime?
a
It's been a
while.
while.
Oh,
It's been a
it's
while.
Several
Yeah.
months.
But if you completely disagree, that's okay.
But you can,
No, I
you
mean, do we
definitely
have-
add your own input to
Yeah.
what,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or draft your own proposal, too.
absolutely.
and I will email, John's page, because that's the only written anything we have currently, just for you to look at it.
And I was tasked to write one about the PUDs from last month. Unfortunately, that didn't get done through the holidays and everything, so, we'll have more time, and so I'll present mine next month, and at which time you guys, if you have an input on that, absolutely can bring that to the table.
So yeah, you guys individually can email to Zach or email to me and copy Zach.
You just can't do a group email.
Yeah, you can send emails to each other. You can't do group
You
email.
can't put all of us on that same email
No.
and.
Yeah.
That
So if I
constitutes a
send
meeting and it
something
has to be
out-
public notice.
Yeah, if I send out, information, it's not a reply all, and you add your conversation and more information and whatever. Just reply back to me.
Okay. So. in
But you
regard-
can email me, because I'm not part of the commission. I don't vote, so I'm not part of the quasi judicial anything. So you can email Zach and I and Jane.
So in terms of questions leading to more knowledge on the subject, can I ask those here, or do I need to go to you in between meetings, or how?
Or Zach individually.
Yeah,
Either or.
Okay.
I mean, I think the link I sent you included most of our discussion to date. The 3 meetings that I sent.
I saw those meetings, those were very informative.
I mean, I can look up and find the YouTube section where it all came about from BOCC.
No, I was kind of more wondering about some of the things that cause this to happen, like what I was thinking on mine. You've got people who know the code and then make a choice whether to follow it or to take the risk of to not follow it and take the risk of getting caught. Or you have people that do not know the code nor their responsibility to follow it and just do it out of ignorance. Are there any other
It's probably
possibilities?
90-10. They don't want to know and they have no idea. And our realtors pretty much say you can do what you want in Montezuma County.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think,
And the commissioners hate variances.
willful ignorance is not an excuse either,
No.
right?
I mean, we've got
You need to do your
we've got
due diligence.
contractors that have been here for 30 years and they don't call and they've done it all wrong. We've got 5 of them now,
5 what?
contractors.
That have been
The
here
land use code's
for
been here
30,
for
40
22 years and
Yeah.
they've been doing their stuff for 30 or 35
And
and
they're gonna continue to do
they're
it that way.
still getting it wrong and I still chew their ass.
So what do you think is the incentive to make people either put their property into compliance or to follow the code to begin with? I'm thinking it's gotta be economic.
Well, which is the 4
Not
times.
necessarily economic. It's just, they just willful deniance. They don't want to do it.
The other possible consequence is court proceedings, correct?
Right, after a certain period of time,
If the commissioners want
if the
I mean,
commissioners want to
Want to turn it over to
Yeah,
the
so
county.
to,
that's
we're
like
not
the-
gonna have
that's like the
15 court
worst-
cases.
Yeah, that's like the
No.
worst path.
They might have 2 or 3 at one time.
Right. This is, the idea here is they've asked us, they don't like after the fact, and this specifically was brought on by after the fact PUDs, okay?
They don't like
want-
after the
they don't
fact,
like that
period.
At all.
Yeah.
So then we're presented with the idea, how do we address that and be reasonable, right? And I think that's where that grace period comes in, but then it's expanded, at one juncture, it expanded to every infraction, and I think that's just
More
a
than
nightmare.
anybody can handle.
A nightmare, yeah, so if we do this in sections throughout, and it.
Because then after the fact setback, okay, so they have to move their shed 10 feet. If you've got 4 tiny houses on there, now you're tearing down or hauling off houses or whatever from the
So-
PUD process. The
Yeah, so-
PUD is much more damaging and demanding.
So moving a tiny house that's portable anyway is not a big deal.
No.
But moving a residential home that you spent $500,000 on, that's a big deal. So
Especially when
you're
you
not
built
gonna do
4
it
of 'em.
lightly.
Yeah, especially when
To comply, you would need to cut off the part of the house that's too close and put it on the other side, whatever, I don't know, but
Well, it's
there's
getting the
no,
variance.
there's no economic incentive for somebody who's done that to comply. So just paying the fee is easy, isn't it?
Well, it's a fee So they still have to, they still have to come, say they're caught, right? They still have to come, because they're gonna send them information, they're gonna send them letters. They have to come before the board and present whether or not they want that. They're gonna have to pay the fee regardless, whether or not they get approved, even if they don't get approved, okay? So then, if it is within that first year, it's not 4 times the fee, it's just the regular application fee, they become compliant, or they don't. If they don't, and the commissioners wanna pursue it at that point, then that's where it can get quite expensive if they draw it out to that portion. But, the incentive here is, if you have, cause what are PUD applications, how much are those?
It really depends
It
on.
depends on the
how
unit,
many
right?
units they
Yeah.
have.
But if it's, say it's 3, is there a relative term on how much that would cost on 3 units?
So you're looking around $2,500.
Okay, so that's the regular
Well, that's
fee.
only for the application fee.
Right, but just for instance, that's the regular fee. If they wait past the year, right, and we've given them ample ability to become compliant, they wait past the year, now it becomes $10,000, right? And
And
that's the incentive to.
They're
to
still
become-
not guaranteed to get it approved.
No, even after they paid the 10,000.
Right. Now, I think reasonably, if we look at things, if they're paying the 10,000, we have to seriously consider approving them. Not a guarantee, but it should be a stronger consideration. And depending on, to your point, $500,000 house that's at a 20-foot setback instead of 50, they're not gonna move that home. They're gonna request a variance, but a variance is a lot cheaper than what we're talking about here as a PUD. So that's why we're not trying to open the can of worms that you're talking about.
And
just yet.
PUDs tend to be the most violated of the land use code.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just show something that we have the land use code to make, by the way, I'm Queen Mars, I'm the mayor of Memphis, so
And Queenie's here at every meeting.
I try to be. We had a incident that these people had a PUD in their backyard. They tore it down instead of coming to the board and asking to rebuild it. And this person was previously a town board member and knew the land use code. Back up exactly. And we have a stack of emails from our administrator telling him that it was out of compliance, and we ignored him. Came to the board, and we told him, no, it has to come down. He went to a board of appeals, and we had 7 board members from the community, and they told him it has to come down, and he has till January 31st for that building to come down. And he's put probably $25,000-$30,000 in it, but he fails to comply and fails to work with us and has failed to even communicate. So he's going to have to tear that building down, or it's going to go, they'll be probably $500 a day for every day that he is out of compliance. Because people just think they can get away with it because they don't want to pay attention. And none of us like all these rules, but if you have to live by it, and he has to live by it, and I have to live by it, everybody should. And if I buy a piece of property and my shed is not in compliance, then I go to P&Z and Memphis and ask for a variance. It's very simple.
well, the willful deniance is, or the willful defiance
Yeah,
is also, that's a factor that has to be considered,
And we see
right?
that here, when I become meetings, and I see that here, where the people are just totally divided about what they're gonna do, they're gonna do it in hell or high water. And somewhere down the line, the county has to take a stand, the town has to take a stand. Because, and in Memphis, for a long time, there wasn't any, and houses are built right next to each other, you know, and there's 5-foot setbacks instead of 10-foot setbacks. And, but all you gotta do is go and apply for a variance, simple.
Rules are there because people have broken them.
Right, right. And so just go and ask for the raise. And then if you tear that shed down and you're gonna build a new shed, then move it another 5 feet. Don't be stupid and put it right back in the same place. He even poured cement in the same place. So, I mean, people are that way, and this is why the county commissioner has come to you guys to ask, because out in the county, as we grow, and as more people move in, and we have more subdivisions, those setbacks are gonna be very, very, very important. And,
So he has less than 2 weeks as he started tearing the shed down?
I haven't seen anything yet. I'm waiting, so.
Good luck with that one.
There'd be some good remedy for Minkus.
So something that I didn't understand was you were talking about the permit application fee. In the videos that I watched, I was thinking of the setback things and the fines for those, and they were so small. I didn't realize that the permit fee for this is that significant. So-
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I think it's proportionate to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Size.
Right? So if you go to put in a 20-unit development, that's gonna be substantially more expensive than that of a 50-foot setback requirement. So,
And
and that's
you're
where we
looking
went
at
the
the
4
difference of-
times,
yeah.
so that it applied. You know, a 100-foot setback variance is $100, but then after that, it's $400. That's not fun to swallow, a $400 thing, when you could have just as easily become compliant. That being said, John's includes all of that, and we can talk about that when we get all this together, but mine is gonna be specific to PUDs.
So when a person has 3 permanent units on their property, it's out of compliance, they have to do the PUD application.
Or take it down, or take one of them down.
Have you ever had someone take down a permanent?
Well, an RV camper that's hooked up to water and sewer and electricity, that's considered another unit.
We've
So-
had one denied, it's got a brand new mobile home on it, and they've gotta pull the mobile home off.
Yeah, and that was willful defiance on that one. They were told ahead of time.
They were told
Do not
not
set
to do that.
that. They got here, said it wasn't set. Proof was through pictures that it was skirted, hooked up, the whole thing, and it was denied. Willful deniance is part of the subjective part of this board, I think. Something to be considered at least.
So I have a question, in the permit process, say for instance, these people, they're doing their, campground or camping spots. I know in the usage code, it says you can have no more than, 25, RVs or camping sites on an acre property. So how do we know exactly how much property that they're putting it on? I mean, do they send a,
We've got our GIS maps, we can pretty well, we
Just-
can measure on
Well,
our
I didn't know if they had to have it surveyed and.
They'll have to have it resurveyed to an as-built.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's not the whole property, then they do we have them do a commercial envelope that has a legal description, and just like this one, you have to stay within those boundaries.
Right.
Their property is, they have
Yeah, I thought they had
40
like-
acres, but their envelope is only like 11.5 or something like that.
Right.
And what they are doing has to be maintained within that boundary.
Okay, that was my question.
And you have to remember that we're making proposals to the commissioners. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean that they're gonna go approve it or not. And I think when we're considering these things, we need to consider every aspect of.
Right, well, it's,
Of all of them.
just like some of the things I was looking at, have these people paid for their, road impact fees and things like that, well, we need to keep an eye on that too, because.
And I think that's where Dawn and Jane come in, that if they haven't done that stuff before they go in front of the commissioners, it's not gonna get moved forward, am I correct? right?
Yeah.
I mean, if,
I mean, we're
they're not
really-
gonna, they're not
They
gonna
have
let
to-
them
voting
approve.
on that. I mean, I know in the permit it says, you know, that you have to have your, you know, this, and this, but, you know, we're saying, okay, we approve it, but then at what process do they, before they go to the commissioners, they have to have the,
They'll have to have their fees paid and all that kind of stuff.
okay.
So we do allow for only half the application fees to be paid up front to go to P and Z, but, you know, under this guideline, we wouldn't allow that. You
That
pay
makes
the full
sense.
application fees, the 4 times whatever,
Yeah, you pay
and
all fees upfront.
sink or swim.
Right.
And all fees that are paid, for application fees and things like that, it is stated that they are non-refundable.
Yeah, we don't have them pay the road impact fees because if it doesn't
Well,
get
it doesn't-
approved,
I mean, I
then.
understand that part.
Right.
But I was just wondering where in the process that,
Mhm.
Well,
You know, that all
also,
has to be-
also if, like this PUD will require, another survey and another plat, all fees have to be paid prior to that plat going before the county commissioners to be signed and recorded.
okay.
Nothing is, even with a, high-impact documentation or any kind of documentation or plats, they do not get signed or recorded until all fees are paid.
Now,
To
is that
our
in the
office.
meeting, is that in the meeting following, not necessarily directly following, but following this meeting? Or is there a subsequent meeting with the county commissioners? Like, you guys go present, this was approved, or this was recommended to be approved, they get an approval, they don't sign off on that plat, then it's another meeting down the road,
Right.
It's another
right?
meeting.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, very rarely do we have the plats
Mm-hmm.
ready. I mean, if it's a single lot development that's a gimme on a subdivision, we
I
do
think you-
occasionally. but-
Yeah.
And,
I think
and
your
with this
point-
one, it's a high-impact special use amendment, plus, a new plat for the PUD. I construct the documentation for the amendment for the high-impact special use. And so, none of that will get signed at that meeting with the Board of County Commissioners for approval or denial, whatever. If it gets approved, then Don and I will present those documentations later at a different date.
So if I wanted to see your recommendation and the other gentleman's recommendation, would I communicate with you directly or Don or?
You can communicate with me directly, and I can give him my recommendation,
Mhm.
individually. And then, when it comes back to next month, we'll, I'll
When
present it.
everybody gets together, then we can all talk about it then. but I'm
Exactly.
fine with it.
And after Zach looks at it and you guys can haggle over this or that or change it, then I can send it to everybody.
Mhm.
I can send it out.
Once we have something we all kind of agree on, then Don can,
So that way you guys can review it prior to the meeting, so it's not just coming out of left field.
Don and I can email your group, but you guys cannot communicate in a group.
In a group.
With
so you
each
can't
Each
other.
other.
reply all, don't
Right.
reply all.
Because Don and I
We're
don't
the
have a
committee
vote,
and
we're not
they're-
part of the
and they're-
judicial
yeah, they're
system.
not part of us.
But I can talk to you individually.
Right, I understand.
Any other follow-up
Or
stuff?
actually, one or the other.
No, I gotta go back to work,
Okay.
so.
Motion?
Motion to.
I'll make a motion to finish this up.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 We're adjourned.